What's up, Lore Masters? This entire series, in this format at least, is being brought to you by Hover.com. Stay tuned to find out more about how we can finally start utilizing CBS clips and not worry about making the YouTube gods unhappy. With that out of the way, let's just get into it. In order to properly break down the Borg, we need to understand the foil that is presented to them, namely the United Federation of Planets. When you break down these two factions, they both have similar goals, especially in later Trek. I'll let Jean-Luc Picard tell you all about it.
How big is this ship?
There are 24 decks. Almost 700 meters long.
It took me 6 months to scrounge up enough titanium just to build a 4-meter cockpit. How much does this thing cost?
The economics of the future are somewhat different. You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
No money? You mean you don't get paid?
The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
While Jean-Luc says humanity, I think it's reasonable to assume that this was for the benefit of Lily. While contamination of the timeline has already occurred, he doesn't need to go too far in depth. And I think if you look in previous episodes, you'll see that this stands true, where he'll go so far but no farther. Ultimately, what he's saying here is that the United Federation of Planets is trying to better itself, to become superior. The Borg have the exact same goal.
Worf, Klingon species, a warrior race. You two will be assimilated.
The Klingon Empire will never yield.
Why do you resist? We only wish to raise quality of life for all species.
I like my species the way it is.
A narrow vision. You will become one with the Borg. You will all become one with the Borg.
Both entities are just going about it differently. The Federation, in theory at least, is built on ideas and exploring what you think. That everyone is free to pursue whatever they want to pursue. That the height of humanity and the height of the Federation makes them want to make their lives better for the next generation. The Borg, similarly, do want to improve. They do this by assimilation, to gain perfection, to enslave and utilize the collective to attain what they want. Their entire culture is geared towards the same goals as the Federation. They just do it in a different way. Ironically, I think that we see initially that the Borg's culture, the way they do things, is far superior to that of the Federation. Before we get into that though, let's break down the Federation up to the point of meeting the Borg. I've discussed this before, but we know that the United Federation of Planets was founded by 4 core members: the Tellarites, Andorians, Vulcans, and humans. Of these core 4 worlds, I don't think it's a stretch to say that at least 3 of them were conceited and arrogant, and possibly it was probably all 4. Though their superior attitudes would of course vary by degrees. The progenitor organization that ultimately would form the Federation would not be without its own controversies. But even with these issues, from that, a proliferation would occur. It would turn into the Federation, and this Federation would expand in all directions. New species and worlds would join and create new technologies. It would be a time of exploration and scientific endeavor. The Federation, and by extension Starfleet, would look at the galaxy as something to be marveled at, to be studied. People would begin to focus solely on their own pursuits, and then the ideals of the Federation would be challenged.
Donna du van nek. Die wil poe. Akastar des pochwer. Mayon chok poe. En niet more die boek. Kijk jou dag. Lulu, lune. Dat doet goed aan poe. Vulkaan aan poe. Talar aan poe. En Dorian aan poe. Lam koe. Ja. Grilla, greju och. Nach duchache, chanipo, wabuch. De vui a poe, kaspet, hoch vijaspol. Hoop te bet, cho. Pau, poe, san maj.
Jaeger dropped out of war.
Where is the Admiral?
The Europa is still 800 AUs out.
Captain, the Klingons are no longer jamming ship communications.
Nanusi, open a channel.
Aye, Captain.
Unidentified Klingon vessel. This is Captain Philippa Jojo of the USS Senjo. We are on the outermost borders of Federation space. But make no mistake, you and your artifact are in our territory. We regret the situation has resulted in the death of your warrior. We offer you two choices. Leave immediately, or open a dialogue with us. Hopefully it is the latter, so that we can re-engage with the Klingon Empire and prove to you that now, as always, we come in peace.
Takte! Roste! Mapim nikma eluchaume roschach. Mai luchobok nodme. Matai takne mabon lupa.
Who's there?
Where are the medical officers?
Connor, what happened?
The bridge was hit.
Who else was hurt? Is the captain all right?
She told me to go to sickbay.
But this isn't sickbay. We're at war. You should be on the bridge.
I can't help. I'm locked up for mutiny.
Why are we fighting? We're Starfleet. We're explorers, not soldiers.
Connor, you took a blow to the head. Activate that comm panel and call Dr. Nambu.
Yes, I need help.
And that ideal would fail. Though ultimately Starfleet would win due to, we'll go with improbable, circumstances. And after this victory, it would move into an era of a Federation Klingon Cold War. Though even with this Cold War, this would be the beginning of a quote-unquote utopia. Species of all kinds would again come together to begin exploring again, to search out new life and new civilizations, to not just find answers to the questions they had, but to find new questions. And then, the Federation would effectively win the Cold War. I've talked about it quite a bit, but the time after would see the United Federation of Planets entering into a very pacifistic stage. Now, Lore Runner has called this time the Golden Age, and that's not inaccurate. In fact, the reason that Starfleet stopped believing itself a military, it started having families on their ships, and they were so pompous, was because they really had no true enemies. The Klingons were now allies, the Cardassians were a regional threat at best, and the Romulans hadn't really poked their heads out. And it's really easy to see an alliance ultimately forged in combat, challenged and beaten to near annihilation to only come back and defeat the enemy that was going to destroy them, would become apathetic after hundreds of years of having won. They were sitting on their laurels and enjoying the good life. You can even see such a pompous attitude with Picard challenging Q.
Simply speaking, we don't trust you.
Oh. Well, you may not trust me, but you do need me. You're not prepared for what awaits you.
How can we be prepared for that which we do not know? But I do know that we are ready to encounter it.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. That's why we're out here.
Oh, the arrogance. They don't have a clue as to what's out here.
But they will learn. Adapt. That is their greatest advantage.
They're moving faster than expected, further than they should.
By whose calculations?
You judge yourselves against the pitiful adversaries you've encountered so far. The Romulans, the Klingons. They're nothing compared to what's waiting. Picard, you are about to move into areas of the galaxy containing wonders more incredible than you can possibly imagine, and terrors to freeze your soul. I offer myself as guide, only to be rejected out of hand.
We'll just have to do the best we can without you.
What justifies that smugness?
Not smugness, not arrogance. But we're resolute, we're determined, and your help is not required.
We'll just have to see how ready you are.
Q!
And this is ultimately where the Federation would meet its foil. Unlike the Federation, the Borg consumed everything it came across. Effectively, they were bred from war and conflict and were in a constant state of fighting. They didn't fall into any apathetic stage, so where the Federation utilized its freedoms to become soft, the Borg didn't. But I tell you what, let's get into, at least a little bit, the encounter between the Borg and the Enterprise after this. Hey guys, this is a multi-part series about the Borg lore and their technology. I'm using clips and not worrying about the YouTube algo, and why is that? Because of Hover.com. Hover.com is a domain site that is meant for everyone. They don't care who you are, or what you do, as long as it's legal, and they don't try to pull you in with flashy gimmicks or try to sell you something every time you call. Additionally, unlike another company that is apparently buying up all the YouTubers that I'm not going to mention what their name is, Hover.com specifically wanted me to do this for you. This entire series is because of them. And you know what? Getting a domain couldn't be easier. Go to hover.com, put in the domain you want, add it to your cart, click it, and boom, all yours. Heck, it even gets better. Use the link in the description below and get 10% off your purchase. And let me know what you guys think when it comes to hover.com. Now let's get back into it. The encounter between the Enterprise and the Borg would change the Federation forever. But here's a question. Did Q send the Enterprise to an older Borg cube that the Enterprise would have an easier time with so they could survive and go back and tell the rest of the Federation? Bonus question. Do you think the confrontation changed the Borg? When the Enterprise first meets the cube, the Borg begin dissecting the Galaxy-class ship for information and causing damage to it. They learn about the Federation and what it has achieved. And according to Q at least, they only want the ship. This opens up some interesting questions, and I intend to break down this cube specifically in the next video. However, I do question how the Borg operated beforehand. Did humanity and the Federation change them? We do know that they did already have assimilation technology and transwarp gates and were able to travel via transwarp, but it seems like this ship was different, or at least the way they operated was different. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and as always guys, remember, all our lives are just a story. Make yours a good one.